Good morning. Today is the 4th, and she already made, some plate. What I wanted to show today, look, remember the carnitas? I showed you this pot here. So they're being made right now. They probably need another 2 hours, something like that. Opas. Today we are going to make the conclusion of this sleep topic that we have using Walter's thoughts that he wanted me to talk to you at the beginning. It's very cold today outside. It's like 23 when I woke up. He wanted to come in and enjoy a little bit of heat, and now he's watching something on TV. But we want to start talking to you about this conclusion. But today we were supposed to show you some exercises. Remember that? But yesterday we had a little bit of a problem with the washer, the dishwasher that I bought, the new one. After I finished installing, it had a hole at the bottom on its belly. So big old mess when I removed the old one, big old mess when I turned the new one on. Okay, so that's why we don't have any recording. So we're just going to finish this topic of sleeping today. Walter wanted me to talk to you about chromosomes, but it's going to be difficult and it's going to take a long time to explain it that way. So I told him, why don't we use this logic about the shoelace that a lot of people use on the internet to explain this topic. So we're going to proceed with that idea. It's going to be simpler. You have these little guys inside of your body. At the end of it, you have the action like a shoelace. It's being held by a body, and there's usually these hairs that are sticking out of the tip that look, these hairs, let's see if you can see that. You see those little tips? This is just the bush from a tomato. You see those little hairs? So that's what it's supposed to look at the end of your shoelace. Now, those hairs that are like that on the tip of this bush represent your age. So the more hairs, the long, pretty hairs that you have represent your age. Now, someone that is young, that parties and sleeps like 3 hours, let's say, and in the morning, those guys, 15, 18, they don't feel it. It's like nothing happened. So they're like, nothing's happened to me. But over time, years are going to pass of you doing those patterns of life. So every time you do that, every night that you do that, you chop and you chop and you chop and you chop until you reach an age in which you're like, okay, what happened to me? I look like I aged. That's because your little shoelace now is just like this. It's just a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. Where's the camera? A tiny amount of something holding this guy. And that's when Walter comes in. Walter wants you to start eating better, because there is a way for you to grow those little hairs back. There is a way. You just have to, think right, eat right, sleep right. So this is something that he wants you to know. You have to eat better, because what you eat represents, it's your ID of your nutrition. It's in your genes. It's in your chromosome. So this is not the very best thing that Walter is telling us. What he wants you to take as an advice is, the tips that we're talking about. So his tip, you're not going to like it. Your tip is to get rid of your friends. His tip is to surround yourself with positive people. Why? Because he says that when he was alive, he was basically tired all the time. He lived this life tired. Why? Because the person would go and party and not eat right. Instead of eating something that is of nutrition, you eating like chips, and you follow it with the beer. So instead of water, beer. So that life and the sleep is doing the next. Inside of the poor guy, he holds the bone marrow, right? And inside of him, the blood is supposed to be produced. But the sadness about this is that the nutrition that you eat and the sleep that you take is first received by your flesh. And if there is leftover nutrition, which most likely there isn't, and if there is leftover sleep, that's when it can come to my poor little fellow Walter. But see, that's why he wants you to hear his message. You are living with a tired skeleton. You think and you believe that you feel good, but you don't know the damage that you are creating inside of yourself. That is the message. We'll see you tomorrow.